think fast, happy now, of course. If you knew the future, it could possibly, change things in essence, for lack of a better word, mess things up. Of course, everything is in divine order, and if things are allowed to be quote unquote messed up, then it's not necessarily messed up because that's what was allowed to happen. But, with us seeing into the future, it becomes a thing where you could mess up an event. So say, for instance, I go so far in the future to see that, I fixed up this type of machine that changed something that happened, in the future. But if I know that, say for instance, I could mess up that situation, because by knowing that now I carry myself different right now, and the way I carry myself end up changing the outcome into something different than the outcome that was gonna, say for instance, save the world, you know what I'm saying? But since I found out that information, I kind of went about things. I got lazy, say for instance, because I was like, oh, I'm saving the world, this and that. So I just got lazy. And then when that time came, I didn't make the machine and, didn't save the world, you know what I'm saying? So like, knowing the future, is a tricky spot, and a lot of us not to that place, it's different levels on as far as like how some of us are able to deal with information without it deterring the way, we operate, in a way we operate and live in essence. But I was just thinking about how on a human level, as you raise your vibration to start receiving messages, where you tapping in, not only you receiving messages more often, but like those real deep messages, like those messages, those what I would like to say exclusive messages, you know what I'm saying? Because in essence it's just like a club, as above so below. You reach the certain guidelines of this the Mile High Club, you get in and you get to learn the information. That's the same thing with dealing with our spirit guides. When we raise our vibration, by raising our vibration, we're able to interface and communicate more, you know what I'm saying? Because you're operating on a frequency that's close to theirs so they could communicate with you better. But speaking of that, like how, the spirit guides, the beings in those higher planes, they have the guideline where they're not able to tell us, too much of the future or just too much information in general, because it could throw off our growth. It's certain things, that we put, our higher self, inner source set up for ourselves to, go through so we could grow and learn the certain lessons that we want to learn. But if somebody let us know, our whole story, just like the analogy of like letting us know the end of the movie, then that's going to, deter the whole. Now you ain't even gonna want to watch the movie or live your life in essence, because the ending story of it, But also that hierarchy of not being able to, to tell too much of the future and tell too much of one story. That's also, we fall under them guidelines as well. Like some of those videos where I be about to like share some information from a download and I just instantly feel like it's not nauseated, but it's like the energy kind of just like makes me feel weird and funny. Like, I go from feeling like, the best way to explain it is that when I go to talk on it, I get like this confused, stupid feeling, like as if I'm about to talk about something that's a lie, or, and I get a weird, like, it's a mixture of being honest, it's not nothing to be fearful of or anything, but you just feel like you're being threatened by higher self, like to shut up, like, is the best way to explain, you know what I'm saying? But it's some information where it's like, and if you ask, how am I being able to, like, or when we raise our vibration, how we're able to get it, if it's that profound, well, the reason why we're able to get it, because we're open to having that information without allowing it to deter our walk of, our spiritual path, compared to where if you let the masses know the situation, that's going to throw them, completely off. So that's why a lot of situations is information that, in essence shouldn't be shared, because it could throw off the whole little, divine order of things. Matter of fact, it makes me think to the story with the yogi. Matter of fact, if y'all haven't read that book, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, the little part where he was sitting down with the yogi who taught herself the technique on the breathing technique on how to not eat anymore, and speaking to the divine order of things, she was, Paramahansa was like, damn, you know how to do that, then why don't you teach the world how to, not eat, and do that breathing technique? And in so many words, she's like, I mess up the divine order of things in this moment, like it's not meant for that right now. Like if I was to just teach everybody how to do the breathing technique to not eat, she's like, the farmers wouldn't like that. The farmers who tilling the land and who job, who have a purpose and in their being through farming, they'll lose their purpose in essence if I just, up and stop things up and stop us from eating, or the fruits and vegetables. Like the fruits will fall to the ground without a purpose. If I was to make everybody, be able to not eat right now, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you just see how, certain situations, it may be some advanced situation or advanced information just in general, whether it's future information or some information about a certain technology, but certain things that's just, not meant to be shared at certain times, There's a time and a place for everything in essence, It's like, I don't know, it's just, a hierarchy of learning. Before you crawl, you gotta walk in essence. It's so many words. But it's definitely that same hierarchy of not being able to, share. So like, just like the higher the beings in those higher dimensions, the spirit guides, the ancestors that's vibrating on those frequencies, and got that, that insight, that we not really, privy to on a human level. Because I know a lot of us right now going through these transitions, like we want to know. In essence, we kind of want to peek into the future and know, like, all right, what's going on planet Earth? I got an idea, but I really like to go in deeper. But if you're at a stage where the information could throw off your growth, then you're not gonna get that information. But it's all on the level of growth you're on. You know what I'm saying? As far as like what how deep the information you'll get. As far as like how far in the future, and just the deepness of the information in general. But yeah, I just wanted to expand on that idea, because I thought about how when I'm doing some videos, and I'm again about to speak on something, and it's just like something just grabbed my tongue, something like, nah, don't tell them fools that. Oh man. It kind of has a restricting vibe. Like I go to stuttering, or I feel, just something out of whack, and it could, just deter the situation. Again, like if you find out something, you find out something about the future, and you're not ready for that information, you'll go to operating in a manner that'll throw the situation off, So everything has its divine order. In order for us to grow these certain situations, because say for instance, if a certain situation would you find out some information that change things up, you would possibly change things to where you would stop people from from growing in the essence of where they had certain lessons set up. But when you peeped into the future and then caused this event to happen, you kind of threw off everybody's growth and threw off, the divine order of the whole situation, So that's why you always see on all levels a lot of cartoons or just, movies or anything dealing with time travel, where they got the time travel police, and you better not go talk to yourself, like go and talk to yourself in the past or the future, like you can't meet up with yourself in any other timeline, because you could throw things off. the reality of the situation. It's like you gotta be careful at what you're dealing with in those rounds, because you could throw off a whole lot just by doing one little thing in the past or the future. But I digress. Just want to share that thought on. That's why a lot of times when we go to speak on certain situations, when we tapped in, we really tapped in, and it's like cat got your tongue. That'd be the reason why. It's a hierarchy, and in two, that's when I realized, there's an Illuminati on both sides. As much as it's about sharing information, it's sharing information that doesn't throw off the divine order. So of course you're sharing information to help people grow, but say for instance, tapping into future and exclusive information, that's a privilege. So you don't have to tell people that. So that's something that you can, in essence, it's not a, say for instance, moralistically bad, because there's no bad or good. It's not considered a bad thing to hold that type of information back, because motherfuckers not even really supposed to be knowing it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you're not it's not like you're being like a 1% or a 10% of holding information back. It's like, nah, some information not even meant. It's barely meant for you to even know it, in essence, let alone share it with others. So with that being said, that's how that vibe go, and that's all I have to say about that. Basically it. Peace. Oh, wait, hold on, let me make sure. High self was like, hey, you sure you finished? Yeah, that's it. Again. But yeah, I'm glad I finished that off at the end, because people would probably ask, well, wait, hold on, God withhold information like the Illuminati? Of course, to that, everything is a reflection of the all. The Illuminati exists, in essence. They are a physical manifestation of that part of God that, has information that shouldn't be shared and holds it to itself, in essence. There's certain information within my body that don't get transferred to certain areas of my body. The fingers don't find out until the blood then actually left. I don't let the fingers know when it's frostbite time, hey, y'all about to be cut off. It is what it is. But the body don't, it's like they don't really know until it's time, so they don't freak out, that, it is what it is. That's why you realize it's no good and bad. It's just certain situations, certain operations going on. My fingers getting cut off for frostbite, because the blood going closer inward in the body, on a moralistic level, or if from a finger's perspective, if the finger's not seeing that as a part of the whole, of course, oh, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Man, why I gotta do, but then if it says well, no, I understand, I gotta go in order for the whole body to to be sustained, in essence, seeing and getting a deeper picture. But that's the whole situation. But now, peace, happy now, not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past.